Well, hello there, YouTube. Welcome to another live oil painting session. I apologize to the majority of you for last week. A little something came up, so I wasn't able to make the video public. However, I did make a YouTube video last week. I just had to make it unlisted due to a little mix-up with my microphones. If you are curious about the stream from last week, please check out the Facebook group that is listed in the description box of this video. It is completely free. It's the Facebook group that I created for viewers of these live streams. So what we have today is a self-portrait setup. So I'm over here and I'm looking at a mirror, and I've been working on this self-portrait for like months now. Not consistently though. I did take probably like maybe 2 months off of this painting. I repainted the background about like probably like 3 or 4 times until finally deciding today to just make it flat for now. And then maybe if I want to add something to the background, then I'll add it later. I've also had to retighten this linen canvas because some of you may encounter this when you use pre-stretched or your own stretched, anything stretched, whether it's linen or cotton. Sometimes they can lose their slack. See, this one is like drum tight, so it's not, it hasn't lost its slack yet. So the way tonight's live stream is going to be is I'm going to be sitting here and working on my self-portrait, and you'll be able to ask me any questions while I'm painting. Of course, there's no reference for this one because I'm working from a mirror. Hey, Angela. So I've actually left some of this still dry so I can have a place to rest my pinky, but I'll probably cover it later. The light also changes a little bit from time to time, so I tend to adjust it. Hey, Emma. Hey, Michael Jones. So hopefully during this live stream nothing too wild happens. If I learned any lesson, I should probably just get my phone and take it away, put it in a room somewhere where I can't hear it. Hey, KR. So the stage where I'm at in this painting is, some may consider the finishing stages. I call this the impossible subtlety stages for my online students. In fact, this is the stage we were at last time with the portrait we were working on, and we kind of finished it last week. So once again, that video is available for you to watch if you check out that Facebook group. And that's just because something occurred on it that I can't really make widely available to the public, so I'm entrusting that video to that Facebook group. I'm pushing the form. So what does the impossible subtlety mean, and what am I even talking about? This means you've taken a painting to a point where it looks finished to you and you think, okay, that's it. Like, I'm not gonna do anything else to this painting. Well, there's always another level, and always keep this in mind. There's always another level that you can take your paintings. There's no such thing as overworking a painting. Painting is finished when you call it finished. It's that subjective, so you don't have to take your paintings to a certain level of refinement if you don't want to, if you don't feel comfortable. But don't leave it at a certain stage because you don't know what to do. If you don't know what to do, don't leave it because you're afraid to mess it up. Seek guidance. Find someone to help you. And if you don't have someone to help you, just trust in yourself and push it as far as you can. I always tell myself I'd rather ruin a painting and learn something than make a half decent painting and learn nothing. So that's the stage where I'm at with this painting. It is a self-portrait that I've been working on for a long time. I'm very capable of doing something to it that would make it look less appealing than it may have looked the day before, but that's the risk. And if you're not willing to take that risk, then you're not going to learn. And this is the foundation of what my YouTube channel was built upon, is portrait painting. So I always try to do a self-portrait and take it as far as I can at the expense of ruining it. I can even age while I'm working on the self-portrait. Hey, Michael Jones. Oh, thank you. Good comment from Michael Jones. He says the best painting he's seen for me, maybe just because I'm painting from life is better than reference. Michael Jones, I should just pin this comment instead of my the comment I always pin. This is a really good comment. And yes, you can take things. So thank you for that compliment. It really means a lot to me that you said that, because I have always tried to push my painting ability to a level that I just can't even fathom. And it's hard. It's hard to even put it into words. It's hard to know what to do. It's really hard to even get past this point. And yes, the reality is I am working from life with this one, and I'm constantly chasing reality. I'm chasing life with this painting. I'm trying to push the subtlety as far as humanly possible with the face. There should be at some point a level of realism to your self-portraits that is beyond what you can do with paintings from reference, and even paintings of other people from life, because you are your best model. I tend to call myself my worst model, but really I am my best model because I'm my only model right now. I don't have anyone else to pose for me. I'm all I've got. So I have to keep pushing, and I'm going to start another one soon. And maybe I'll stream a little bit of that too. Another self-portrait that's a little bit larger, though I'll probably just focus on the face and maybe the hands on YouTube. But this is the constant search. Materials wise, this is a linen canvas. This is a fine textured Classon's linen canvas that was oil primed. I think it was a double oil primed. So I bought it primed, and then I toned it neutral gray, and then I probably have maybe like 2 or 3 paintings underneath of it, because in the past I tended to paint over paintings. But now I've kind of stopped doing that. I'm saving more and more of them these days. So I'm looking at the mirror and I'm asking myself, what is different from real life given all the information I have, and how can I make this closer to what I'm actually observing? And that's going to be the stage for the entirety of this painting. The rest of the painting, at least here, it's going to be, what do I see that's different? And not just details. Obviously I've got like whiskers, and I'm not going to paint the individual whiskers yet. I'm going to look for the value. And I think the value is close, but it can be changed a little bit. Angela, Let's see. You have difficulty with the impossible subtlety. I'd say, honestly, it's one of the most bewildering things in all of painting. Because I think most of the time we think that a highly finished painting is either looking just like a Bouguereau, just like a Sargent, just like a Rembrandt, or we think it looks just like a photograph, which is the worst case scenario. Whenever you see a painting, the worst thing you can say to someone that paints from life when you look at their paintings is, that looks just like a photograph. That's defeating. So anytime you meet someone that's a representational painter, someone that paints from life, whether it be still life, landscapes, or portraits, if you walk up to them and you tell them that looks just like a photograph, that's an insult. For most of us, that's an insult. Because if it looks just like a photograph, that means we failed to capture something about reality, something about life. And we painters don't really take that to heart, at least most of us don't. And we try to look at our paintings and reevaluate, like, why did someone think this looked just like a picture? Could it be that they don't know the difference between a photograph and a representational painting? If so, then it doesn't really matter. But if it's someone that knows about art and knows about painting and they say that to you, then there's something to look at there. There's something you might be missing in your paintings. This is not an easy subject to talk about at all. I know I don't have the palette in the reference or in the view because I'm sitting actually really far away from my laptop. So all I can really do is just hold this up and show you. I'm using the same color palette that I always use. Same color palette for everything, and yes, the wooden texture does make it a little, wooden color does make it a little difficult to see some of the skin tones, but at this point I'm used to it. Hey, Stephanie Thompson, oh, thank you. And I wish I could edit a video and film the whole thing and take it to this level and even further and voice it over and give you like a very in-depth like 30 or 40 minute highly edited video on this. But for me, pre-recorded videos right now are just very complicated for me to do and still maintain my balance with teaching online and all that. So streaming is my preferred way to show you what I'm doing, and it's completely unedited. So unedited that, like I said, last week something happened and I had to make it a video that only viewers in the Facebook group could watch. Hey Abdul Nasser, I apologize for mispronouncing your name. Thank you. And at this point, I'm just like, I'm searching, like I'm looking for any small little thing. Oh, thank you so much, Stephanie Thompson, for the super chat. Thank you so much. You know what time it is, and maybe I should be a little careful with copyright at this point, but it is now time for our super chat spirit animal. So a special thank you to Stephanie Thompson for the super chat, and here we have the super chat to Grumpy Cat that says thank you so much, Stephanie Thompson, for the super chat. It really does help a lot. Now usually with super chat Grumpy Cat, I have her stand here and paint something for me. But I think with this one, I'm gonna let Grumpy Cat just kind of hang out with us and wave, because you know, I at this point I might actually mess something up if I have Grumpy Cat paint on the self-portrait. So Grumpy Cat's just looking at this and saying, you know what, this might look a little bit cartoony, Yupari. Haven't you been painting for 13 or 14 years now? Come on now, this looks almost like a cartoon. So why, Grumpy Cat? Why does this look almost like a cartoon? Grumpy Cat looks and Grumpy Cat says, You know, something about the way that the nose, the eyes, and the mouth, they're not quite very specific yet. So maybe you can take a look at your specificity and make sure not to make faces overly generic. That's pretty harsh, Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat says, yeah, I know, but if you want to improve with painting, you gotta take a harsh look at what you're doing and work from that and make it better. Always make it better. So thank you, Grumpy Cat, for that insight into how to push our paintings further. And yes, this is a self-portrait. Yeah, there is something I'm noticing with this, with the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. And I'm gonna get there. I'm chasing it. I'm chasing, and you notice I'm chasing it with the mouth. There's a level higher than, much higher than this. There's a level much higher than the photograph. That's a level where you capture the character of your model, and taking a face beyond a generic simplification of the features is extremely difficult for anyone, anybody. Even Rembrandt, some of his portraits look awfully generalized. And I hate to say that. I love his paintings. He's like the greatest portrait painter of all time. But if you look at his self-portraits, you can see the difference between a generalized face and a not generalized face. And it's a harsh reality. It is definitely a harsh reality. But in order to get to that higher level, you have to really push yourself, even if it makes you uncomfortable. Thanks, Abdullah Nessar. Yeah, composition-wise, I had a background. I had like 2 or 3 different backgrounds on this, and then I just went and took each of them out and repainted them, and then that's the stage where the background is at here. Right now, I'm just more focused here. But thanks for the compliment on composition. What am I doing right now? I'm sharpening the edge of the lip ever so slightly. The edge of my lip is slightly sharper than what I had described before. So how do I work with an edge? I need to mix the two colors, so this one and then this one, and then I have to reevaluate each of those decisions as I proceed forward with the edge. Not to overcomplicate it, I just need to mix the lip color and the upper lip color, and then create an edge that works better. Now the last thing I want out of this, like I said before, is photo realism. That's the last thing I want. So I have to be very meticulous with what I observe, what I paint, and I have to be very patient because I'm gonna make mistakes. I am gonna make mistakes, and I'm being vulnerable to you, all of you on YouTube, which is something that is not very easy for me to do, but I am showing you a stage in a painting where I'm pretty much lost. I'm trying to search for a new level in this painting, and it's not a level of detail, it's a level of subtlety. I've been fortunate enough to be exposed to a lot of like brilliant painters growing up, and of course as an adult, mostly as an adult, but anyway, I really admire getting to see paintings in person, especially self-portraits, because I can definitely tell the difference in the skill level. And a lot of it is, let's say, a process of discovery. Now I'm just moving my eye back and forth. Okay, so I think I've done enough for the lip. And now I'll return to it when I find something else. I'm gonna go to the areas around the nose. And it's not just about knowing the planes of the face anymore. It's not just about knowing how to mix color. It's not just about structure anymore. All of that is assumed knowledge, and now it's really about the minute changes between all of the planes and all of the structures. And at this point, like I said, this is the most vulnerable I think I can be on the video with painting. I made a decision that something looked different between the maxilla region of my face and the top of the orbicularis oris structure of the muzzle of the mouth, and I didn't know what it was, and I don't know what it is. So I mixed as close as I could a value for this in hopes that if I get this value, something here will make sense to me, and then I will find something that will take me further. I am just remixing something in the hopes to find something new. Hey Abdullah Nassar, let's see, what's the method that you're taking in skin tone in this portrait? This is direct painting. However, I did oil out the painting this morning when I started working on it. So there's a little bit of glazing involved in it. So this was actually, when I was working here, this was a glaze but with lighter paint, which is usually referred to as half pasting. If I'm going to glaze darker, which I may actually do here, it's going to be a little bit more transparent. So it's a mix. This is like direct painting, which is what I'm doing now with the thick paint, and then indirect painting where I let the layer underneath show through. So this is a combination approach, if you will. What I see, I stand back or sit back, that the value range between my nose and this area should be more compressed than I have it. I'm using lead white for the subtlety. So lead white is it's heavy, but I can also use a lot of it without raising the value too much, which allows me more control. Hey Stephanie, you're starting to hear feedback from my microphone when I speak. Thanks for letting me know. I did notice it. If it's too much, I'll connect my other one, but you will probably hear my fan. I did actually this morning order another one. I ordered another microphone. But I don't want it to annoy everyone, so I will connect my Blue Yeti microphone. And I noticed it because I've been rewatching some of my videos just to like quality control check them, like. And sometimes this microphone starts out fine, but then it starts to act up a little bit. Starts to act a fool a little bit, so that's unfortunate. But thanks for mentioning that, Stephanie. So in a second here, I'm gonna connect my other microphone. And this microphone is really sensitive. It's actually like a podcast microphone. What I used to use for my pre-recorded videos. So let's see if I can add it. That's weird. Alright, so at this point, alright, so I have turned off the never mind, my Blue Yeti has been disconnected. Hold on a second. Huh. That's odd. So it appears that my... Hold on a second. Yeah, this is why I ordered a new microphone. Alright, I'm gonna try to unplug and plug this microphone back in. As you can tell, I am not a tech person, I'm a painter. Yeah, so it looks like I have some problems even with this microphone. Okay. Alright, so hopefully the problem is resolved for now. Now you should be able to hear me better as I get closer. Hey Art, thank you. Sorry for the microphone problem. Again, my mirror is right over here, so I can talk to you directly. So this is the microphone. Obviously, I'm not in focus because it's focused on that. But anyway, this is the setup now. This is what I had before, my little clip-on microphone, but it doesn't really work that well all the time. And I think it just got old. I used it for like many days, many weeks, years, so the microphone just got old. But I don't blame it. It did a good job. Where was I? So over here, subtlety. Yes, so I am mixing this skin color, which is a little complicated because now I'm looking over my palette. I could actually just hold this thing since it's not on camera. And I consider this palette to be kind of like a convertible because I can hold it. It's got the little thumb hole. So I'm just holding the palette and painting now. Like like an old master would hold their palette, I would hope. Okay, so now I'm going to venture off to the shapes surrounding this. And I think, I'm not sure, but I think it is a little bit flat. So I'm going to push this mid-tone. So I'm just going to push it. And who knows, I probably could have aged from the point where I started this. So this little smile line is a little sharper. Oh, good, Stephanie. I'm glad it sounds better. I mean, you're going to hear more background noise, but at least it won't have that annoying buzzing sound that my other microphone started to develop. You might even hear me mixing paint. Alright, so that's too far. So sometimes I have to push the differences between shapes a little too far first. I've even thought about wearing a camera on my head when I move around and look at the palette. I tried it, but when I look at the palette, it actually doesn't focus on the palette. It looks like just slightly above it. Alright, so once again, I'm still pushing it a little sharper. I just want to get clarity between these shapes now. ASMR paint mixing. That would work if I was in a quiet space. But I've got like a 24/7 running air filter in here. And then when it gets really hot out, I'm going to have a window air conditioner. So the touch, sometimes I'll like wiggle the brush around or spin it sometimes if I'm trying to create like a really soft touch. Not to confuse it with blending, because I'm not trying to create a value by spinning the brush around. I'm just trying to create an edge. Okay, so now it looks a little more accurate, still a tad bit sharp. So this needed to get sharper. This needs to get softer. And this needs to get a tad bit, I don't really know, to be honest. I think lighter. And I'm not sure what value. I think this is too yellow. So I'm going to mix. So off camera, I've got a big puddle of skin tone on the bottom, and I'm just experimenting with Cadmium Orange and Cobalt Blue and lots of white. And like I said, I oiled out this painting this morning when I started working on it, so it already has a layer of medium on it. And that's what it is. So I moved from here to here to here. Now I see, vaguely, but I see something I can adjust with the nose now. So I'm gonna just mix something light, slightly more pink, but a very, let's say, almost subtle, muted pink. So feel free to ask me any questions, art related. I know what I'm saying could be a little confusing. I'm not the most clear when I'm in deep thought. Hey Janet. Yeah, that's me. I hope you got my email, Janet. I don't know how I missed that picture. And just to show you how much lighter I can still go, because I still think I can. I'm being overly cautious with the value range, but this is the white. So this is just white from the paper towel. Now you see how much lighter I can go, even with the brightest light here. So I can still raise the entire value range all around, but very, very cautiously. Oh, good, good. I'm glad you got it, Janet. So I'm using alizarin permanent and a lot of lead white, and the nasal bone has more light than I initially described on it. And it's funny, when I started this, I was 30, I was 30 years old when I started this in, maybe it was February, I don't know. I turned 31 in March. My hair was shorter when I started it, and I was heavier. So I lost, I think, like 20 pounds since January. So I actually had to narrow myself down a little bit, add more hair, and potentially more age. So this painting is growing with me. Hey Janet, you're still resting from Corona. Uh-oh. I hope you're alright. Alright, so I'm pulling a little more light up there. And what's weird is that this gets darker relative to that getting lighter. So I'm using now Cad Red, or its substitute, which is Windsor Red. I still haven't bought more Cadmium Red, but I will soon. So the pink is right on the right side of the palette, and lots of white there. So the thing to get out of this stream today, if you're still watching, is paint from life as often as you can. And if it takes you months to do just a head and shoulders self-portrait, but it's your best head and shoulders self-portrait, then do it. And always have a self-portrait going on. Like always try to have a self-portrait somewhere that's in progress. Okay, now over here it gets slightly darker. So we're trying to do what Grumpy Cat said. Make sure it looks less cartoony. Now the bulb of the nose gets a tad bit less pink. So I'm going to add cadmium green into my mixture with cadmium red on the bottom right. My question is anyone else working on a self-portrait currently? Or does anyone else want to now start a self-portrait? It also helps you get past that awkwardness with painting portraits, because if you can look at a mirror all day and forget that you're looking at yourself while you're painting, it gives you a really nice sense of objectivity. There we go. Not sure what I did, but I think it's starting to work. I'm going to add some lead tin yellow to the corner of the wing of the nose. Michael Jones, don't have a good mirror, probably should get one. I don't even know if I have a good mirror. It's a mirror to me. So that's a good observation. I've had this mirror for years. I think it's a good mirror. I want a bigger one. Actually, I do have a bigger one in a really elaborate frame too. I should use it. Instead, I'm using this smaller one. A good idea. Maybe I'm going to do that. I want to do a larger self-portrait anyway. You know what? That's a good idea. I'm going to set up the larger mirror. The fancier mirror. Thank you. Hey Matt, by the one. So let's see, definitely improving. Top half of the image looks a bit warm, like you sat at a bench. That's true. I did notice that I had it a little too warm. So the reds, like alizarin, is a cooler red, so that's why I chose it. But the edge of the nose is a tad bit warmer for me, but it's not quite as warm as what's on my brush currently, so I'm cooling it down with Alizarin Permanent. Hey Angela, let's see. Still need to finish your self-portrait. Don't know if your family criticism blocks you. They don't like one thing on the painting in progress and it is difficult. Oh, don't show them paintings in progress. Anytime you show friends or family paintings in progress, they're either going to be too supportive or too unsupportive. So definitely don't mind what they say. I'm sure they mean well. That's the same even for experienced painters. If you show an experienced painter like a portrait of their loved one or something, like even an experienced painter will come up with something to say. I'm not going to mention any names, but I know that's happened. I also should add the camera is at an angle, which makes me look a little more narrow. And the saturation is probably much stronger on your screens. I'm looking at my laptop a little bit further away from me. I can see that the laptop is really pushing this red, which is not that red. But nonetheless, it's not correct, and I'm going to work my way towards it. Yep, thanks, Angela. No problem. I'm glad you liked last week's behind the scenes too. I didn't get to respond, but I saw the notification on my phone that you could relate to the behind the scenes topic. The highlight is a little stronger, so I'm going to have to use titanium white. So titanium white and lead tin yellow with a touch of Indian yellow. Now I'm going to have a golden highlight. And even this is not the brightest light possible. And remember that putting straight white, especially somewhere in the sclera, not a good idea, because then you're giving yourself headlights. But my nose is pretty shiny, so it's fitting for the nose. I always got picked on in school for having a big nose. Just means I can have more real estate to paint. So it's an advantage. Okay, so next. Yeah, right here. I don't know how to address it, but I'm going to mix something for this value and then see if I can figure something out from there. And I'm working with small brushes, just Sables for the moment. So I'm going to use yellow ochre. I'm just going to mix right into there, this section of my palette. I actually worked on my hair earlier today. I will change the light sensitivity so you can see it in a second. Alright, that's too orangey. So Cerulean Blue. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Matt by the one. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for the super chat. That means we're gonna have the super chat to Grumpy Cats return here. So thank you so much, Matt by the one. Thank you. This is a super chat to Grumpy Cat saying thank you and saying hopefully I don't get in trouble with copyright. It's just a little stuffed toy. So super chat to Grumpy Cat says thank you, Matt by the one. So as always, super chat Grumpy Cat is going to have something to say about the painting at the moment. Let's see. Let's take a look. Grumpy Cat says, okay, so the lips and the mouth are actually now starting to look less cartoony. And maybe it's because you've been spending a lot more time actually looking at the mirror. So we turn the thing over. Super Chat Grumpy Cat is next to me. Super Chat Grumpy Cat says, whenever you are looking at a mirror or just looking at reference or something, let's just say always improve on your observation skills. So bounce your eyes as much as you can from a reference to painting. So Grumpy Cat, what do you think about that? Grumpy Cat says, yeah, that sounds about right, but you forgot one very important thing, Yupari. What did I forget? You forgot that this only really works when you're painting from life. I wonder why. Why, Grumpy Cat? This only works when you're working from life because you have something three-dimensional to look at. So you can look at it from many different angles. Oh, really, Grumpy Cat? Well, of course, you've only been painting for 13 or so years, Yupari. You should already know this, shouldn't you? And another lesson from Grumpy Cat. Grumpy Cat really telling us what to do here. So the lesson to look at from a Grumpy Cat's perspective is move your eyes back and forth from what you're looking at to your painting. And this will help you find things. Move your eyes rapidly. It actually helps with your observation skills. However, this only really takes you to a higher level when you're painting from life because you have something three-dimensional to look at, so you can actually, as you move your eyes back and forth, you'll actually see a different perspective sometimes if you also move your head when you move your eyes, which gives you another keen insight into what you're painting. Not easy. Not an easy thing at all to do, and in fact, one only really reaches this stage after working on a painting for probably like at least a couple days, and this painting has been going on for months. So from KR, the nose, that's what's been destroying your drawing / paintings, either so subtle that it doesn't exist or too outlined. I just can't define value color shifts on the noses for some reason. And I think it has a lot to do with something similar to what I said is you have to really train your observation skills because it's more than just the technique. It's more than just the right thing to do. It's the subtlety. It's subtlety that's beyond words. You just have to feel it. Like I felt like a touch of Viridian in that pile there. However, there are some technical aspects to it too. I'm not gonna say that there aren't. But yes, I'm with you there. The noses are very difficult. So I've added some either cerulean or cobalt blue. I already forgot because I thought that was a little too orangey. also, we're gonna do something kind of special today. So give me 1 second. A really fantastic thing to have, or to look at, is high quality art prints uh, of old masters or even current or new age masters. So this is a book that, so shout out to Leonard if you're watching. Leonard is one of my in-person students currently taking my Monday night portrait class. So Leonard has let me borrow this book. I promise I'll do the best that I can not to get any paint on it. This is a book of Nelson Shanks paintings. So of course, shout out to Nelson Shanks. He is my superhero in painting. So this is painful, but I can look at my painting next to Nelson Shanks. Hold on, let me adjust the camera. Not to compare, but to get an idea of the subtlety and the differences between how different painters paint subtlety. And in the light, this is almost all flat looking, but in reality, it's a very, very subtle. By reality, I mean the print, because I'm assuming it's a high quality print. So once again, shout out to Leonard for letting me borrow this book. And again, if you haven't heard of Nelson Shanks, I mean he painted Princess Diana, Margaret Thatcher. He painted Pope John Paul II. He painted a lot of really famous people, and he did a lot of portraits that are quite bizarre. Like this one is a very intense look, but really strong use of color, really strong sense of form. So I've been looking at these pictures. Sadly, I'm kind of someone that looks a lot more at pictures than actually reads the text, but I am reading somewhat, a little bit. But there's so much form in Nelson Shanks paintings. So much form. And again, if someone walked up to him and told him his paintings look just like a photograph, he'd probably slap them. Of course, he passed away in 2015, but I mean, just the artfulness that goes into it is just amazing. And this is why I speak volumes about what it's like to really see things from life. So, one thing I will do is just show that there is no paint on your book, Leonard. And I'm going to put your book away now before I accidentally get any paint on it. And I do have some paint on me, so it's a little bit dangerous for the book right now. I think I got some paint on my... Yeah, I did. I got paint on my cable. The microphone cable. I haven't All right, so Stephanie is going to be my chief sound engineer. Thanks for telling me that. Yeah, it looks like that microphone, this one has stopped working for a minute, so yeah, I'm gonna, sometimes unfortunately I have to unplug it and plug it back in. Do you remember, does anyone remember the TVs that you used to have to smack a little bit for them to work? Yeah, this is one of them. This is like that. I have to unplug and then plug things back in. Hope that it works. Usually it does. Okay, now it's working. It's so silly. I have to unplug it and plug it back in for the microphone to work. So yeah, that was the audio. Thank you, Stephanie. I had to unplug it, plug it back in, blow some air into the USB, and smack it around a little bit so it would work. Just like does anyone remember those TVs from the 90s where you had to smack them sometimes just for them to work, or move the antennas around so that they would work? Yeah, that was my childhood. So I'm still facing that to this day. Gotta unplug cables and plug them back in. So thank you, Stephanie, for pointing that out. And what was I saying before it cut out? So hippie artist, reach out to me on Patreon if I haven't sent you the links with the online class descriptions and the links for all the playlists for the projects. Hey, Michael Jones, VHF/UHF, rabbit ears. You mean VHS? Maybe it was a typo. I'm changing the skin complexion here slightly. So here's another I hate the word interesting. So here's another notable thing. When I look at a color in isolation, I see it differently than if I see it from my peripheral vision. So always judge your colors based on your peripheral vision and not direct observation. So for example, this looks so different if I'm looking at the side of my face. If I'm looking directly at this plane on my face, I see more yellow. However, if I look at my hair and from my peripheral vision I look here, I see the yellow, it's weird. It's like I said, colors look different when they are next to different colors. Hey, Michael Jones. Oh, you mean the TV? I don't know if I heard about the rabbit ears, but definitely VHS. Hey, hippie artist, you'd be down for an in-person class? Well, yeah, if you live in the Maryland, DC, Virginia area. I mean, at the moment, I'm only teaching an 8-week class. It should start again, I think, in the fall. Hey, Libertas, don't worry. This isn't the last live stream. I'm going to be doing these streams, so don't worry. Alright, so I'm sitting back, looking at myself. So what was I talking about? So if I'm looking directly at this part of my face, at the mirror, I want to paint it more yellow because I see it more yellow. But if I look and I focus here, from my peripheral vision, I see the yellowish colors that I was looking for. And remember, colors are always painted in relation to other colors, never in isolation, which is why it's not a good idea to try to diagnose a color or use an app to tell you exactly what color something is. I know that those apps exist and they're tempting to use, but definitely always paint colors in relation to other colors. Now I'm gonna move on to the neck, and this is way too warm, too brownish, so I'm gonna add some cadmium green. And what I did was, believe it or not, just added some cadmium green into this pile right here, and then just went with it. This is intuitive mixing, but you see I'm looking here, focusing my eyes here to figure out what that color needs to be. This is why painting from life is so important, because that's not the case when you're painting from a reference. If you're looking here at a reference, this is probably still going to look the same, but when you're painting from life, it's different. Hey, Michael Jones. It's called the V-shaped aerial on the TV. Oh, I know what you mean now, the antennas. The rabbit ears. No, I have seen TVs like that. Yeah, I've seen TVs like that. Just adjusting the microphone a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't shut off. Yeah, I grew up in the 90s. I was born in 91. So yeah, I've seen some TVs with some antennas. Adding a touch of medium. Hey, hippie artist, do you remember TVs like that? As a child, we were the remote control. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Oh yeah, I totally get it. We actually had to stand up and turn the channel. I remember we didn't have too many channels on the TV, and I would just sit and watch advertisements for a long time, which in our times now is like akin to torture. Now I'm going to paint some of the curvature for the neck using the large brush. And believe me, technology also affects art. The way it's perceived, the way it's presented. Not always a bad thing either. But what is bad is the feeling that likes equates to accomplishments. So that's a really toxic area to be. If you equate likes to how well something is painted, and that's just not the case. Likes is just more of a clout kind of thing. Sure, it feels great to feel appreciated on the internet. I'm not going to deny that. Who am I to deny that? But for example, a lot of young artists and even artists my age and up tend to really feel bad if they don't get a lot of recognition on social medias, which I actually haven't really been posting much, especially with Instagram. recently posted a picture with my Chihuahua that was next to a painting I did of him like many years ago. But I thought that was just fun. That was just for fun. But I usually only post finished stuff now. I don't really post works in progress anymore. Which is why I haven't really been posting much, because I haven't been finishing much. So how many of you feel like social media has affected your perception of art, or just your art life in general? Or how many of you just stay off social media? It's not all bad, but there is some things to note. Hey, hippie artist, does it work to take a photo as a reference and then paint from life as well? Yeah, you can do that. I've done that before. If I'm painting another model and I can't paint from them for many hours a day, many hours a week, only a couple hours a week, then yeah. I've done that. I've painted from the reference for like detail stuff and background. And then painted the face from life. Yeah, that's fine. It's all okay. I mean, it's all fine. You can paint from references all the time if that's what you prefer. But painting from life does give you a distinct advantage. Okay, so this shadow is not as steep as I originally had it. And this light is actually brighter now. Let's see, Matt, by the one. Let's see, you failed at art or 0 level and started painting again in December 37 years later. Oh wow. Well, welcome back to painting. Libertas says art is one of the few good things about social media. I mean, there's some good stuff too. I mean, I've other stuff too, like other educational channels. Certainly. But yeah, once, people start posting pictures of their evening dinners and stuff and like really personal things, then social media can get kind of toxic. I mean, it should be said, like, social media post responsibly. You know how the marketing is for, like, like drink responsibly, like post responsibly, things like that. Like, careful not to share too much. Okay, Matt buys one. You're getting close to finishing your 12th work of art since December. Awesome. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, definitely feel free to share it with us in the Facebook group. Remember, it's totally free. Speaking of social media, it's totally free. The Facebook is a place where viewers of these streams can communicate and share artworks. Yeah, I'd say I watch YouTube probably more recently, since I started playing pool like a couple months ago, or like maybe 2 months ago. Hey, hippie artist. Oh, good. I'm glad social media brought you here. Like I said, it's not all bad. I feel bad. Like, social media does get a bad reputation for, like, reality TV and things, but there's a lot of really informative content and supportive people on the internet. The Facebook group URL. Let's see. I'm gonna go to my computer. I'll post it here. I'll be back in 1 second. Or a couple seconds. Or more. Alright, there it is. Hopefully my microphone is still working. And yes, Angela is correct. We do have a Facebook group that's private for the online students as well. And that one is strictly online students. Hi, Tipu. And that's actually what I use to give my online students pointers on their ongoing projects, is the Facebook group, either that or my Gmail. So social medias have become a really powerful educational tool, very powerful entrepreneurial tool. So a tad bit too warm. Let's go with Cerulean Blue. Hey, Janellis. And always remember, this is something one of my teachers told me recently, the eye sockets are inside, not literally inside of the skull, but they cave in. So if I were to smack myself like this, I would hit the top of the eyebrow with the superciliary arch of my skull and my cheek. So if I were to smack myself right there, my eye would actually be protected just by the structure of my face. I don't know why I just thought of that, but one of my teachers, Paul Hamilton, mentioned that to me recently when I visited his studio. Hey, Michael Jones, been learning about the Boston School Impressionism. A real focus on painting from life, no underpainting, just putting spots of color on the right place. My first teacher was a Henry Henchy student. I'm wondering if that's similar to the Cape Cod School of Art. Hey, hippie artists. Let's see. Good to know about placing paintings. Can we get feedback on the works in progress? I saved that for the online students. So since you are on Patreon, you said if you're in the online class basic tier, the $10 a month tier, I give a weekly virtual classroom on Tuesdays. So if you post it on the virtual classroom Facebook group or send it to my Gmail, I'll be able to give you advice there. And on the odd occasions that I do miss an email or something like that, just contact me as quickly as you can, and I'll get back to you. Like Janet, she contacted me maybe like an hour after I posted it, and I was like, oh, I genuinely missed my email. So sometimes that happens. It's not a frequent occurrence, though. But I'll admit sometimes that happens. So why did I mention the thing about the eyes? I think it's because I need to pull the cheek a little more light on the cheek. It's very difficult for me to really pinpoint, to be honest. I'm just guessing. And through all my guesses, I think I will figure something out. Because it was just guesswork here and guesswork here and just all guesswork everywhere. I don't have to guess as much when I'm in the earlier stages of a painting, especially when I'm teaching. I don't really have to guess because everything that I teach, I do so many lessons. I do 2 lessons a week for the online students, and I do 5 Zooms on Friday and 1 Zoom on Tuesday. So I'm always painting on camera. So I've always got like something in the back of my mind to give. This is another story. This is a painting that is far beyond what I've been comfortable with, which is a good thing. Yep, hippie artist, it's on the Patreon page, and definitely contact me on there. Just use the Patreon messenger. And I'll be able to give you more information there. And at this point in this painting, I still have not put the finishing touches on the glasses. Notice the glasses are really, they look like glasses from a distance, but the top part of the glasses is actually missing. So maybe that's the only thing I'll put in for the glasses for today, because it has been bothering me that I don't have the middle of my glasses there. Hey Matt, by the one, I am kind of speed painting studies as I have some catching up to do. Well, always take all the time you need, but yes, there is a time to do quicker studies, I agree. in the online classes we have mostly long-term projects, but there are a variety of projects that are more short-term. So that's all I'll do for the edge of the glasses there. Or not. Now I feel like I have to add more. Okay, so I think that's about good. So before I head out, I'm going to move the easel so you can see the painting with less distortion. Alright, so there it is. That's the painting with less distortion. Like I said, I've been working from the mirror. I am all the way over here. Let's move this. So again, I've been looking at a mirror. Yes, my hair has been growing out, so I did have to adjust my hair on the painting. I'm going to change the light sensitivity, make it really bright so you can actually see the hair now. Oh, that's really bright, but now you can see there's the curls of my hair. I painted this earlier, actually on Zoom today. I was painting with my group Zoom students. We meet on Tuesdays and Fridays, so I was working on this. Especially when you're painting hair on like highlights of hair on darker hair. Like for example, like my hair is dark and the highlights on it. If I put blue here, this would end up looking gray. So I actually had to use some more of the skin tones there, so it doesn't look, you know, too cold. But that is what that looks like. Of course, I have to change the light sensitivity so you can see it, see the skin tones. So that is about it. Let's see here. Yep, no problem, hippie artists. Hey Lamadai, hello from Nepal. Oh, thanks, Jabby Jab. Tipo, is the green on your face a reflection of your shirt or something in your studio? The green here, I think this is a reflection of maybe my wall. In the daylight, some daylight actually gets in, so I've got a green wall, like, not green wall, but a green cloth over there, and the wall is kind of greenish, so it's probably somewhere originating from there. Yep, thank you for watching, Leonie. Thanks, Angela. And thank you, Stephanie. So I'm just going to hang out for a minute and see if there are any last minute questions. The typing app on my thing isn't working. I'm trying to ask if there's any last minute questions. Look at that. And I can't type anything on there. Oh, technology. Gotta love technology. It works most of the time though. So like I said, I'll hang out for a minute and see if there's any last minute questions. Alright, so thanks again for watching. Thank you for all your comments. Angela, Stephanie, Leonie, Amy, Michael, Augustin, and Matt Plaza 1. So thank you all for your wonderful comments. Yeah, I actually had to stand up and type it on my computer, but it wasn't working on my iPad. So I just stood and walked over to the computer. Once again, thank you all so much for watching. Remember, if you want to take thank you for subscribing, Amy. So if you want to take your art education with me further, please check out my online classes on patreon.com/upariartist, also listed in the description box of this video and pinned as the top comment on this stream. Remember, starting at just $10 a month, you will get the links to all of the projects. You will get access to all the pre-recorded videos. At $20 a month, you get to watch the lessons streamed live. I stream a new lesson live every Wednesday and Saturday. Also, if you join the Zoom tiers, I have Zoom sessions on Tuesdays and Fridays with individual group sessions as well. So again, thank you all so much. I wish you the very best in all of your artwork. And that is true, Michael Jones. I am close to 100,000 subscribers. So if you want to help me out, please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would really be very happy to one day reach 100,000 subscribers. That would be an amazing achievement for me. So thank you all again. I wish you the very best in all of your artwork, and I'll see you again very, very soon.